Well, today I've got an exclusive. I'm part of the very first media ever to be allowed to bring cameras into Subaru's proving grounds here in Japan for this vehicle, the all-new Crosstrek, the 2018 that is arriving this summer at dealerships. Now, the proving grounds is actually on top of a mountain that's kind of been hollowed out a little bit to stop cameras from being able to see these new vehicles. Now, the Crosstrek is unique, and Subaru will tell you that right away. It competes in several different categories. It competes in the new set of subcompact crossovers, regular compact crossovers, also sedans, and even station wagons. It has a little bit of everything, and it captures a wide net. This is the one car in the Subaru lineup that has brought more new buyers to the brand. So what's new for the Crosstrek? Well, first of all, it's on an all-new platform. We saw it first with the Impreza last year. This platform is much stiffer, and it gives this vehicle much more capability. The wheelbase has been lengthened by 30 millimeters, but the overall dimensions remain roughly the same. It's only 15 millimeters longer, slightly wider to make it more comfortable on the inside. They want it to be sporty yet athletic. On the top half of the vehicle, it has sleek lines. On the bottom half, you've got all that cladding. All of the vehicles come with alloy wheels, even the new convenience package that shaves $1,300 off the price and makes this vehicle accessible to more people, competing with those new, smaller subcompact vehicles. Ground clearance remains the same at 220 millimeters, which is a major selling feature, especially in Canada where you might have to drive through some deeper snow. One of the major improvements that I like is around the back. The hatch is a very wide, almost rectangular opening, easy to get items in and out. It's bigger than the previous model, making it much more functional. So we're here in Japan. We're going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, starting out on the track, and we're going to do some off-roading and show what Subaru claims this is the most capable vehicle in its class. But what class is it? All right, so this is really cool. We're at the proving grounds for Subaru, and we're just about to go out onto their oval. Now, what a playground. Could you imagine having this as a playground? And so under the hood of this Crosstrek is still a 2-liter boxer engine, but 80% of the components have been changed, and that means that you get only a 4 horsepower bump, but torque is 145 pound-feet, and Subaru claims that it's through a broader range of RPM, so it's a more responsive engine. And then you marry that to the changes they've made in the CVT. There's 7-step gear ratios with paddle shifters on most of the models, and that helps get the power to all 4 wheels. Now, one of the changes that you'll notice when you get behind the wheel of this vehicle is they changed the steering ratio. It's got the exact same steering ratio as the BRZ sports car. So as I mentioned, they're trying to have all of these different masters that they meet: off-road, utility, even a little bit sporty, and that's what they've done with the steering. It gives you a sense of security, especially at higher speed maneuvers, but a little bit of fun at the same time. Now, one of the things they talk about with this car and the Impreza is these are the 2 cars that are coming out on the new global platform. So much stiffer platform, lets the suspension do its work. Here's one example. They claim that the improvement in rigidity is so good with this new platform, they're actually able to mount the rear sway bar directly to the body, which improves body roll by 50%. That's a big jump. The other thing they've done is they've been able to shed weight between the engine and the transmission alone, 20 kilograms, which is a massive amount. That also helps to improve handling and dynamics when you have improved weight. Now, on noise, they claim it's 10% quieter than the previous model on the inside. I'll do a full throttle acceleration here. And you can hear the engine and the transmission, but as I mentioned, they claim it's 10% quieter. Now, I mentioned there's a new convenience package that drops the price by $1,300. You don't get heated seats, you don't get a leather-wrapped steering wheel, you don't get the fog lights on the outside, but for many people, they can live with that just in order to get into this vehicle and have the security, especially of all-wheel drive in a vehicle of this size. So it's a little bigger than the previous model, but a lot of it's on the inside. Overall, it's roughly the same size. There's 26 millimeters more legroom in the back seat. They have a beautiful cutaway vehicle here to show us, and it really highlighted just how much room there is in the back seat. Shoulder room's also increased by 29 millimeters, and overall the height is 9 millimeters higher, making it a more spacious cabin. Now I'm sitting in a Canadian spec vehicle, and Subaru Canada went to bat to get some unique features just for the Canadian market. If you get the top limited model, you get a heated steering wheel, you get dual zone climate control, which is not available in the US market at all. So those are a couple of nice features. And each trim gets unique seating, even from that convenience package as you move up to maybe the sport, and then you get into the limited. Each one has slightly different coverings on the seat, and standard leather comes in the limited trim. The base head unit on the two lower trims is 6.5 inches with a standard backup camera, and you get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. If you go to the top two trim levels, you get an 8-inch screen, and on the limited you get navigation. So those are nice features. In addition, the top two models also get Eyesight, which has been a major selling feature for a lot of people coming to the Subaru brand. And what's been added this time around is the automatic backup feature. Under 15 kilometers an hour, if it detects an object, it'll jam on the brakes, and under 10 kilometers an hour, it'll come to a full stop. That's a cool feature. So this proving ground's amazing. They've got all kinds of things to showcase these vehicles, and I think this is the best one that showcases this new global platform because it's so much more rigid. It allows the suspension to do its work without rattling the occupants inside the vehicle. So this is a gravel road with a lot of washboard and potholes, and it's very refined in here. In addition, this Crosstrek, if you get the continuously variable transmission, has X mode. It's a low-speed extra traction system, basically. It optimizes the traction and stability control to give you optimal control under 40 kilometers an hour. And they showcase this by driving this vehicle onto a roller system. So a wheel on a roller just spins. But what the system's able to do is to shift power from the wheel that is spinning to the wheel that has traction, and they demonstrated it with the X mode off, and then they showcased it with the X mode on, and it was really quite remarkable. In addition, when you have X mode, you also have a hill descent feature. So you basically set it and go down the hill, and it'll maintain the speed up to 10 kilometers an hour. So that's a feature we've seen in higher end products is standard equipment when you get a CVT equipped Crosstrek. Now there's different buyers for the Crosstrek, people that want it because of fuel economy. Average fuel economy between city and highway is 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers. For some people it's this, being able to utilize that 220 millimeters of ground clearance, which is more than anybody else in its class. Even the larger compact utility segment, this vehicle has the most ground clearance. And it really does make a big difference if you have a cottage or a cabin or you go skiing on the weekend. You know, spending the day here in Japan on the track and the proving grounds and going off-road and getting to see all of the things that this new Crosstrek can do, it really comes down to what does it feel like to drive? It's definitely, now I am on a gravel road and I think it does showcase, you know, there's no rattles or squeaks in here, and it's really quite potholed. I like the improved steering responsiveness. That's definitely a bonus. The manual transmission has gone from a 5-speed to a 6-speed now. That's a bonus for someone that wants a manual transmission. And the overall platform and the refinement is up, not just sort of one step, but several steps compared to the older products. So well done, Subaru. I think this is going to be a hit in the Canadian market, especially since you can get it now at a lower starting price. So the new convenience package starts at $23,695 to make this vehicle accessible to a wider range of people. It goes all the way up to $33,195 for the cars we've been driving here today. That's the top of the line limited model. And these are Canadian spec cars that will be delivered to Canada later this summer when they go on sale. So at the beginning I mentioned the Crosstrek has carved out a unique niche for itself because it does a little bit of everything. It competes with cars, subcompact utilities, compact utilities, and even some station wagons. It does it with a sense of confidence that people definitely like with standard all-wheel drive. The fact that it's still available with a manual transmission will be appealing to some. The Eyesight might be appealing for others. It could be fuel economy on the other hand, or off-road capability. As I mentioned, it casts a wide net. And it's been very cool to come here to Japan, to their proving grounds, to be the first to drive the Crosstrek.